Welcome, everybody, to actually Christmas marketing that actually works. I'm here with Pastor Barry Farmilo from New Zealand. Great to have you here with us, Barry. Welcome to, we're going live to the YouTube channel. We're on Facebook. We're all over the place. Welcome. Great to catch up today.
Yeah. Well, great to be here, John. Thanks for the invite, and hopefully we can share some useful information around the topic today. Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to help pastors and church leaders and give them some Christmas marketing tips that actually really work. Now, I know that you've used Google AdWords over the years for many years in your own church and pastoring your own church. And I remember you telling me the stories of turning on Google AdWords ads for Saturday night to get people, and then people would actually come to church on a Sunday through those ads. But you've run some campaigns over the years around your own church. Give us an example of where some marketing through Google Ads actually worked for you and got some people into the church.
Yeah. I find, around events that we're going to talk about today, whether it be Christmas events or Easter, it's certainly, a key part of our marketing. We can include the Google Ads. I've thrown up some last minute ones for events or guest speakers. I think around that, when you've got a guest speaker that you think might have a broad audience in your town or your city, no harm in putting them up, doing a bit of a promo under them, let people know that they're with you on the Sunday morning, whatever it is. So that sort of thing's very useful. And also I've kind of pivoted into, the springtime season when, people come out of hibernation and maybe looking to connect with church, those sort of, seasonal things I find very effective in that sort of genre of promotion through Google Ads. Yeah.
So you find actually people around Christmas doing searches for churches and Christmas service?
Yeah, they certainly are. And I think we might have a graph we can throw up out of Google Trends. We've got that one. And there it is. So assuming most of our audience will probably be Aussie based. So this is for Australia in December 2023. And it's looking at searches for Christmas services during the months. And so you can see out of that around about the 9th and 10th of December, that phrase Christmas church service starts to take off, and peaks really in that week before Christmas, coming in and out of 100 out of 100. And then there's that small little blue blip there, which is actually people searching for the phrase Christmas church services near me. So they're the last minute crowd that are think, gosh, where can I go for Christmas? So there is a little bit of a market for those ones as well. And if you scroll down, if you can scroll down the page, you'll see state by state, just how it comes up. South Australia actually tracking pretty well. So if I had
South Australia winning the premiership there, my goodness.
Yeah, if I had a church in South Australia, I'd definitely be looking to put up some phrases like that leading into Christmas. And so it's just to demonstrate the fact that, events like Christmas and Easter, do figure in people's, mentality and their thinking. And there is, a fair bit of search volume out there. So they might as well go to your church if you lead a church. So that's always my premise.
Remarkable looking at this. That I think some pastors wouldn't be aware of the fact that people do search Christmas church service near me in December. They actually search that, just like you and I might search plumber near me or dentist near me or something in my local area. And Google does encourage that near me aspect of searching. That people looking for a church near me happens every weekend around the nation. But around Christmas, there's that spike. Christmas church service, church event, Christmas church service near me, Christmas church service. Look at that boost that in search traffic, that there are people sitting in our communities looking for a church service at Christmas. And if you run Google Ads, they're going to find your ad.
They're going to find you. And I think because, you might put something on the homepage of your website about your Christmas service. But the fact that Google probably hasn't picked up on that yet. By the time they pick up on it, it'll be January, because they don't scroll your website, kind of every day for new updates. And so the fact that you're advertising on your front page, say early December, they may not pick up on the fact that you've changed for a little while, and you may not be on the front page. And there might be a whole lot of other churches that have beaten you to the punch, as far as that goes. Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay, so kind of get into it early. Now, Barry, you've helped me a lot in the terms of understanding Google Ads and Google AdWords as well. I know you do some work with churches around that area as well as your own church. But if you're going to write some ad copies, the words, they call it the copy for the ad, what sort of wording would you utilize in writing that ad copy? I'll use the professional language. I'll sound like a real advertiser if I use the word copy, but basically it's just the language and the words for the ads. What resonates? What works, do you think, for people outside the church?
Yeah, I think it's like writing any sort of ad copy. You've got to include, phrases that have some sort of emotional connection that will resonate with people at a deeper level rather than just communicating information. We use the church, Christmas church service. Yes, we want to communicate, where we are. We want to communicate we actually have a service and what it's about. But also we need to trigger, some emotion on the inside of people as to why they should connect with you. What is the spiritual impetus around that gathering at Christmas time to remember Christ's birth. And also I would include anything that is unique to what you are doing. I find, just putting my pastor hat on for a minute, quite often we hold back from advertising because maybe we don't think our events, our service, our production is big enough, to actually promote. But I think people, in today's age are looking, not necessarily for big and great. They're just looking for something, simple in their own community. You might include something like a candlelit service, Christmas Eve type service. You might include words like caroling. People love to come out and sing carols. Or you might be doing some sort of Christmas party pre-Christmas, where, you've hired in all sorts of stuff and you've got the whole festive vibe going in the car park of the church, and you're opening that up to the community, because I think in that season people are looking for those sorts of events to go to. So include all those sorts of things in your ad copy when you're looking to promote what it is that you are doing that is unique, but also what's got an emotional connection that you think will resonate with people. And also I think, if you can use some imagery in there in your ad copy, because usually when you're creating particularly Google ads, there's options to include photos and things like that in some of the ads. So, obviously, Christmas, anything that resonates, with Christmas, speaks of Christmas, whether it's a nativity scene, Star of David, or whatever it is that, your creative team can come up with, put that in there as well. And I think that all goes into, creating great ad copy. Yeah.
That's awesome. And I think also when you talk about using words that are, or images or words that are unique or have a little angle that will aim at people, that emotive language. Of course, these days, Barry, we have the benefit of ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini and all these wonderful AI tools that it can actually help you write the ad copy. Have you ever used any AI to help you write some ad copy, Barry?
I use it all the time. Not obviously in the early days, because it didn't exist. I wish it did exist 10 years ago when I sort of headed off down this path, sort of instead of sitting there for an hour trying to think up different phrases for your ad copy. So awesome. I tend to use certain ones I tend to lean into. I find the Google one very good, Gemini. It used to be called Bard, because obviously it is Google, so it kind of knows phrases, and it'll give you some great insights. And there are heaps and heaps of paid ones, just depending, what platform you're using, where you're putting your ads, whether you're running YouTube type ads or whether you're doing, more the print ads, on Google search. Yeah, so that I'm all into that. Use it a lot. I think it's great. It's creative. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very leading question, almost rhetorical question, because you and I
You
talk
use
about
it quite a
AI
bit.
and
Yeah.
how we use it, and I think using AI, Gemini, ChatGPT, using these tools, Copilot with Microsoft, using these tools to help you write ad copy, to find the right sort of curiosity-inducing language, the language that will connect with people, rather than you're a pastor sitting there,
Yeah.
a church leader thinking, oh, how on earth do you write anything on ads that'll attract people or connect with people? Well, these days, the AI, it's a brilliant tool, I think, for this particular
Yeah.
area as well. But also, Barry, I want to give your business a plug, because there'll be some church leaders watching us today and going, oh my goodness, how do I get my head around Google ads? And actually, I think I could get onto AI and write some copy, but to actually kind of explore that whole world, tell us a little bit about what you're doing with Cause Metrics, your business, really to help churches, especially, and nonprofits with their Google ads.
Yeah, it's kind of a spin-off ministry, if you like, that I've started up because I've been doing it obviously for probably about 12 years now for my own church, just out of a necessity. So I've obviously built up some level of understanding as to how to do it and how not to do it. So I thought I just wanted to broaden that out to help others with that, because it can be quite daunting when you first go in. And I think for smaller to medium-sized churches, sort of where it just might be too awkward, or you haven't got the person there as a volunteer, to help you do it. And so you don't do it at all. So yeah, just wanted to reach out and help others on the journey, get them set up, get them going around that. So yeah, I've established that, and you can find on that. That's on the screen at the moment. Just the website there, causemetrics.co, and you can have a look at what's on offer there. But certainly open for a chat with anyone who wants a bit of a hand, obligation-free chat, just to help. Well, there you are, John. You're part
There
of
we
it.
are. Well, I use Barry for my Google ads,
Yeah,
so I definitely
yeah,
recommend him, and Belong Church
yeah.
there in New
And
Zealand.
there was my church there, Belong, and a few blogs there that I've written around that. So do connect with that, and love to have a chat to help you get underway to do that, because there's so many ways you can do it. And you can use what you produce on YouTube and put promotions under that as well, which we found more recently is very, very successful. Going down the YouTube track, whether it's taking your live stream from Sunday, repurposing that, putting some advertising under that, and getting a lot of traffic and a lot of subscribers. So that's really one of the big go-tos at the moment that we're seeing really work with people. So, and
Great.
coming into Christmas, same thing, and
We've got some people have joined us, so I'll just checking all the comments here. Hi, Justin. Looking forward to it. Hi, Brian. Joining us from Tassie. And David Ross, great timing as we prep for Christmas. And where's Tassie? I'm not sure what Brian was talking about there. We must, well, that's right. On the Google Trends, it didn't mention Tasmania in those.
Not enough traffic.
There you go. Brian says that point about underthinking when it comes to advertising, relate with that. Yeah, I think all pastors and church leaders actually need help, to be honest with you. One of the reasons I engaged Barry to work on my whole Google AdWords strategy was that he knew what he was doing far more than me. And when I got into the weeds of it, I thought, you know what, I need some help. And Barry's been brilliant for me on that. Freebie images. Free Bible images. Thanks, Brian, for that little link there. And thanks, Brian, for throwing. Also, Brian's been very helpful today. Causemetrics.co. I will put a link in the description. It's already in the comments there. You can get that from the comments, but I'll put it in the link in the description for the YouTube channel as well. David Ross, another good Kiwi friend, says, go Barry. Well done. I think churches do need help with this area, because it does get it can get deep. And if you're someone like Barry who's wired for that and enjoys that area, you can deep dive into it. But I think to actually get a hold of Barry and utilize his expertise in this area would be a great thing to do for this Christmas. So, Barry, what are some common mistakes that you think churches make when it comes to marketing and advertising their Christmas services? What sort of things you see them doing that are hurting, not helping their marketing?
I think, some of the times that the messaging, we can make it too generic, and there's nothing, in sense of personalized around it. We use generic wording around our Christmas events and things like that. That's why we talked about before, being a little bit more specific around what you're actually offering as a church, the unique, whether it be a carol service or something like that. And sometimes I think we limit our targeting. We don't actually think about who we, aiming at in terms of their demographics. And with, the likes of Google Ads, you can really drill down into some of the demographics. Are you targeting young families? Are you, who is it exactly that you're targeting in your communities? And quite often we forget too that, is it optimized for mobile, if we're putting images up and things like that, because most of your traffic these days is going to be, on a smartphone. The people are going to find you and they're going to read the content. And so I think we've got to realize, how does it display? Are we doing that? And a lot of churches run the charity Google Ads accounts, which are great. They give you a lot of free dollars that you'll probably never ever spend, but also they have quite a few limits around some of these things in terms of, putting it on a mobile device. I with our church, I stopped running them on the charity account quite some time ago. I think the charity account's great if you're a national type ministry and you're broadcasting to a whole country or multiple countries. I think that's awesome, like you, John. But I think when you're drilling down into maybe one suburb of a city or something like that, the options are limited with phrases and there's a whole lot of limits around it. So I think that's one thing that to look at that. And sometimes people forget to track results, kind of so it worked, but then we forget why it worked. We don't actually look. The people actually click through to the website and they actually did turn up.
Guilty of this one.
So we look and we go back and say, well, that didn't work, so we won't use that next Christmas. Or it did work, so let's just remember the fact that it worked and resurrect next Christmas or Easter and do it. So you're not monitoring and tracking your results, I think is, we're on to the next thing too quick.
So it's really good thoughts there of making sure you're getting your wording right. And in terms of think about who you're trying to reach, which demographic specifically are you trying to reach, and what's the demographic like in your region. Make sure you optimize for mobile. So many people will be checking out an ad on a mobile. And if it's on YouTube, they'll be watching YouTube. The ad's connected to there as well. And I'm very bad at looking back and going, oh, that worked. Let's do more of that. That worked. Great. Awesome. What's the next thing we're doing? Whereas I think that that's a really good tip there. Hey, if you've got any questions, folks, feel free to ask questions, throw them up in the comments. Brian's got a question here, Barry. Do you use Facebook or do you concentrate on Google Ads? If so, what's the advantage of leaning either way?
Okay. Facebook, not so much. I've kind of usually left that to others, when we were running the church, to run that side of things, the slightly younger generation. I leave it to them. They do the photos and put it up Facebook and Insta and things like that. Yeah, I mean, everyone has so many different opinions around using Facebook. I think promotion on Facebook, I found if you run an ad for an event, and certainly have run ads for Christmas services, for Easter, and other church events, you get a lot of response. So you've got to have your finger on the delete button pretty quick, because you'll get some pretty sharp comments coming back.
Yep.
That aren't too good sometimes. So you've got to keep it pretty closely monitored. That's one of probably the downsides of Facebook. You're a bit of a target if you put up something that's obviously, strongly religious centered or church centered, you do get a bit of reaction around that. But having said that, it does reach people. But yeah, not so much recently, Brian, around that one.
The thing I like about the Google Ads strategy is that you're really targeting people who are searching Christmas church service near me. Now, people are sitting there in your town, in your community, and in December, they're actually typing in those words. They don't go to church normally, but they're typing in those words.
Yeah.
So to me, my goodness, these are the sort of people that you want coming to your church service. They're not kind of people you have to drag in. They're people who are actually initiating that search. Then they're finding your ad at the top of the search results and going, oh, great, that looks good, bang. Yeah. And suddenly they're through to your website, through to the ad, which gives them the time, the details, the Google map. They're right there and they're in. I think Facebook can be useful. I think all means of advertising can be useful, but I love the fact that you're really connecting with people who are intentionally looking and searching in that moment for a church service near them. I think that's a huge advantage of it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Brian Scott, how do I start the Google Ads process? Brian, my advice is talk to Barry. Get Barry, engage with Barry, get Cosmetrics on your side and get it doing for you. That would be my advice. What would you say, Barry?
Yeah, if you've got someone, it's hard if you are the pastor and you haven't got a technical bent, or you've got so many other things to do. I went down that path simply, because I had no one else at that stage to do it. And I had a bit of a technical bent, in terms of my background. So I found it quite easy. But I'd say for most church pastors, if you can find someone else to do it, do that, get it set up, get it going. But you do need someone, I think, that understands churches, because you can get secular organizations to set it up for you, ad consultants and things like that. But they don't really get the dynamic of who you're trying to reach, and they don't kind of get the intent of the message you're trying to get across, the nuances and the way that we communicate, that we don't want to appear spammy or anything like that. So I think you do need someone who's more on the inside of understanding the message that we're trying to communicate. And there's a whole lot of technical stuff behind the scenes that we're deliberately not going there with today in terms of setting it up, because it can be a bit of a minefield, unfortunately. Oh, yeah. And with Google's, they have a lot of filters now, particularly in terms of promoting religion, to people, on a personalized basis. You're targeting individuals with a religious message, and that sometimes triggers all sorts of things with Google's privacy things that are coming in at the moment. So it does take a little bit of stepping around some of that stuff. Sometimes it's okay. Other times, you've got to have about 3 goes of getting the ad to go and to circumvent some of that stuff. So there's a lot of technical things, behind the scenes. I think first, maybe look at if you've got someone in your church that could step into it, but you do need to set up a Google Ads account to actually run it. And then you run the ads through your Google Ads account. You link it to your church website, wherever you want to link it to the relevant page. Or you can link it to your YouTube channel if you're doing services, live streaming services. A lot of churches doing that. And then they're taking those services, they're editing them. You might get, say, 50 people watch you live on the Sunday morning. Then one of your tech guys edits it right down to just the sermon, cuts out anything that you don't want there, and then you put a Google ad promotion under that and send it out to a few hundred people. So that's working really successfully at the moment, that sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely encourage pastors to have a chat with Barry, because I think it'll save you a lot of time and effort there as well. Now, Tash from Ballarat has got a question here. What audience segments would you recommend targeting for our Christmas promotion? Just making it a bit easier for me to read here. People search Christmas events, families. Can we target people in the specific radius of our church? How precise can we get with the local targeting, Barry? Here's a technical question.
Yeah, you can. You can go right down to a local postcode or a suburb. Depending, if you're in a big city, if you're in Melbourne or Sydney or something, you can go down to a local postcode, because you don't want to broadcast to the whole city. If you're in a small regional town, you'd probably, go for the whole town and surrounding, areas. So you can geo-target quite precisely with it, which is a huge advantage. And obviously, the tighter you go, you will limit your traffic a little bit if you zoom in too tight. And you've just got to think, how far will people be prepared to travel, to your event, to your church service.
Tash, you got all of Ballarat to reach there. Have a good Christmas, Tash. I know, Tash.
I go for the whole town. Go for all of Ballarat and surrounding areas.
The whole of Ballarat. Clam them into your building, folks. I think we're about gotten through there. Barry, any closing thoughts? Well, if anyone's got any questions, pile them in now. We're happy to cover them. But any closing thoughts as we wrap up this Christmas marketing that actually works?
I just say, don't get put off by the technicalities, or maybe you've tried it previously and it hasn't worked. You've got to realize, Google makes most of their money out of advertisers advertising on their platform. So they're all there to help your message get out. But it has got more technical recently, so you do need help getting your story out. Don't get put off. I'm putting my pastor's hat on, even if you're just running, particularly here in the Southern Hemisphere, where, half our congregations disappear at Christmas time to go on their summer holidays, which is just when you want to put on obviously a Christmas event because people are looking for it, but, your church is off somewhere else. Don't get put off by that. Advertise it, think of a uniqueness. People will come, might have half your church of visitors. Hey, great. Don't hold back, because maybe someone else over the other side of town has got this massive production, with the whole nativity scene and, bells and whistles and lights. And even you haven't got that, maybe it's just a simple carol service that people are looking for and they want to connect with. But I think as pastors, we know our churches exist, but most other people don't know that we're there. So this is where it comes in, just bring awareness of the fact that we're there, and, using events, like Christmas or Easter, where there's actually search traffic. People are actually, Google tell us people are looking for those events. And the next thing I'll do, just save that Google Trends website, go there, start looking at that for your Easter events and how you could, pack your church out for this coming Easter as well. So, yeah.
So good, Barry. There's the website, causemetrics.co. I think I really want to encourage you to look at Google Ads, Google advertising for your Christmas events, and also dip your toe in the water. Just spend a few dollars on it this year to kind of experiment with it, and then think about Easter next year. And you do have people searching for a Christmas service or an Easter service every year in your town, in your area, in your region, and they could be in your church getting to know the Lord, which is the ultimate purpose, isn't it? What we're doing here. It's not about making Google more rich. It's not about even running Google Ads. It's about getting people to know Jesus. Thanks so much, Barry, for joining us today. It's been really brilliant having you on, and I think a few people will be in touch with you.
Cool, mate. Thank you so much, John. Appreciate that.
God bless you, everyone. Thanks for piling on with the thanks as well. Enjoy the rest of your day.